We start this morning back in the Senate with them getting to work to tackle on President Trump's one big, beautiful bill.
Yeah, President Trump wants the bill on the president's desk by the 4th of July. But just as we saw in the House, Republican senators are kind of all over the place when it comes to what's in and how much to cut out. Joining us now for more is Republican Senator from the great state of Oklahoma, James Lankford. Great to see you this morning. So want to get your thoughts on the bill and its current form and what changes, if any, do you want to see?
Yeah, there's several changes we're going to make on it, but we're glad that the House has sent over a really good bill. It's a great starting point for us. We're going to have this bill. We're going to work from the House version of this bill and do as much as we can to make sure that the House bill is recognized by the House when it comes back to the House. So we're going to take their framework, their details, their policy areas, and then do some minor tweaks on this. There were 215 Republicans in the House that all put their fingerprints on it. Now this is the opportunity for 50 plus senators to do the same and then to have one bill that's actually combined between the two bodies.
Yeah, I know, Senator, that many conservatives are upset that it doesn't contain a lot of spending cuts like from the DOJ side of things, but it can't because it's a reconciliation bill. Those cuts are separate and coming. Do you think we need to actually kind of push both of these together to make everyone happy?
Well, I think we need to try to do as many as we possibly can on it. We have a $2 trillion deficit. That's $2 trillion overspending just this year. That was the same as last year. This was the process that was set up by the Biden administration when in 2021 they did this giant Inflation Reduction Act and all the things that they put into place. So we're trying to be able to chip away on those as fast as we can. Many of those policies we do take out in this reconciliation bill. We got a long way to go. And as you mentioned, if it's what's called discretionary spending, we can't actually engage with that in a reconciliation bill. There are several things we can't do by law on it. It's not just by rule, it's by law. So we're trying to do as much as we possibly can to be able to slow down our spending. But we're going to have a long way to go. This is going to be a decade-long process to be able to chip away.
And we know that just yesterday, Senate Majority Leader John Thune said he wants to find more tax cuts and savings. That needs to happen before July 4th. That's the message being sent. Is it being well received by your colleagues?
It is, actually. That puts about 10 days that we've got to be able to get our work done behind the scenes in all the committees, bring it to the floor of the Senate to be able to have a vote, throw it over the wall and give it to the House and let them go through it. But we've got multiple things we've got to be able to resolve. All the different tax pieces that were done in 2017 all expire at the end of this year. If we don't get this done, Americans' taxes go way up just based on the calendar change January the 1st. We can't allow those tax pieces to be able to expire and for all these tax rates to go up on Americans. I know that's what Democrats are fighting for. They want massive tax increases on every American. We're trying to be able to prevent that, but to also make sure that we're getting President Trump's priorities into this bill and to make sure we can get as many things as we can for individual taxpayers to make sure that yes, we've got to all pay taxes, but make them as fair as we possibly can.
Yeah, Senator, I know when we went through this process in 2017 with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, there was a reason why some of the tax cuts had to expire because of the rules of reconciliation. Do you see that happening again this time? Will there be a sunset date, or will we be able to make the tax cuts for individuals permanent going forward?
Now you've actually touched the main piece there. So the House has expiration on many of their tax policies. The Senate is trying to be able to frame it in such a way we don't have expirations on it. We want an act of Congress to change this, not an act of the calendar in the future to be able to change it. So as many of the pieces as we possibly can, we want to make permanent, lock them in, and so that people can actually plan for the future on it. Right now, if you have certain things that you're planning on for your business or individuals and they expire, that is a problem. So we may not be able to get everything as permanent, but we want to get as many things as we possibly can as permanent in policy.
I want to pivot briefly and ask you about your recent trip. I know you were part of the delegation that visited the Middle East during last week's recess. Can you tell us a little bit more about your trip?
Yeah, over Memorial Day in that week, I was in Baghdad, Iraq. I was in Erbil, Iraq. I was in Beirut, Lebanon. I was in Amman, Jordan, and I was in Jerusalem, Israel. Meeting with heads of state in all those places, talking through where we are in the region. Obviously, there's a lot happening with the Syrian government right now, trying to be able to form, working with some of our partners in that region as well, and then also working to be able to develop additional strategies for peace. Some of the envoys that President Trump have, they are doing a great job in engagement there, but it's important for members of the Senate to also get a chance to be able to visit, to be able to talk through, to be able to take the next steps on it. There's also a lot happening with Gaza. And I would tell you what's happening with Lebanon. It's pretty remarkable right now. There's an opportunity for Lebanon and Israel to have a long-term peace that has not been there for decades and decades, based on the demolishment of Hezbollah's army. And it gives an opportunity for those two nations to then be able to cooperate together for peace.
All right, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, thanks for coming on and talking to a Hoosier right before we get into a little NBA final matchup.
Both understand.
All right, good
Thanks.
series, right?